You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic bootcamp, Moveville University, Pure Chiro Notes, Dr. Alok Trivedi, the Black Diamond Club, Element Mattresses, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Vita Chiropractic, the Universal Traction System, MedZone, Vantage Point Marketing, and Imaging Services. Let's hustle. Hey guys, Jim Chester coming to you live. I am in Grand Junction, which is the Grand Valley of Colorado, which is on the western slope, which I like to say no one lives. But our guest today is Dr. Vince, and he is up in Cody, Wyoming. And I would probably have to say less people live there.
Yes, I would agree. By far.
So just for clarity, could you just please say your last name for me?
Yeah, it's Kalkowski.
Kalkowski. Okay. I usually do that off camera, but we just got so spizzed up talking about all things chiropractic. And so I'll just call you Dr. Vince.
That'll work. I'm used to that.
So this episode is really focusing on Palmer Rugby. And I know you went and played at Palmer about 27 years ago, ended up getting a degree in chiropractic at the Fountainhead back there in Davenport, Iowa. But before we get started, I'm just going to let everybody know that this episode is brought to us by Prosolvent. And what Prosolvent does is gives a little bit of every dollar that gets spent at your practice through credit card processing back to Palmer for their scholarships. And right now, Palmer offers 20 scholarships to the men's team, 10 scholarships to the women's team. It's unheard of in the higher education world where we actually give doctorate program scholarships to be an athlete. Pretty cool. I think it's very insightful from the program to do that. But I just want to say welcome to the show, Dr. Vince.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So let's drill into it right away. It's happening April this weekend, 13th and 14th back at the Fountainhead. They're having the Rugby Symposium. If you guys don't have tickets yet, you guys can still do it. I'll see you there if you do go, because I'll be going there doing Facebook Lives from the event. And we're doing the full filming of all the cool stuff too. But let's talk about you. How did you get into chiropractic?
Well, I had a unfortunate dirt bike crash when I was in about 7th grade. And I ended up, we know now that I broke 2 vertebrae in my thoracic spine. And I kind of kept it under wraps. The details of the injury, tried to downplay it so I didn't get my dirt bike taken away. And unfortunately, those symptoms, they got worse. Because not only had I broken my back, but my back was in very bad need of an adjustment. And it just about 2 years later, I was having incredible symptoms. Back pain, some incredible headaches that came along with sickness and nausea and just real strange symptoms. And so I finally broke down and told my parents the truth about what really happened, and that led to reevaluation by the doctors involved, and then we uncovered the injuries. And we tried all the medical options that were available. They did their best. They didn't really ever mention chiropractic. And as a last ditch effort, boy, I mean, we were hopeless at that point. I was a 9th grader that was living in constant pain and kind of sickness, and no real answers on the horizon. And finally went to a chiropractor. And that very first adjustment, I knew without a doubt this guy knew what was going on with me, and he had found the key to helping me. It was the first time I'd felt any kind of help, in 2-3 years. And it lit my fire. Number one, it gave me my life back, restored my health. And number two, I just knew what I wanted to do with my life at that point. So pretty incredible deal.
Yeah, man, it's really cool because I think everybody has an amazing story. And when I close out my interviews, I say, you're just one story away. Keep hustling.
Amen.
And we're just one story away. But a lot of times, it could be the most simple thing. that somebody just goes through and suffers for the rest of their life because they don't know where to go or who to trust. And typically, so many times the chiropractor can just do a quick x-ray, do a quick orthopedic exam, do a quick case report history, and, figure out what's going on, do the range of motion stuff, and then explain what's going on from the doctor's perspective to the patient, give the adjustment, and allow the body to heal naturally.
Yeah, amen. And that's basically what happened when I went to that chiropractor so long ago that, I guess until he actually adjusted me, I thought, man, this guy has got to be full of baloney. I mean, he acted so confident. He just like, I've seen this before. Yeah, I think, we very well may be able to help you. And I'm thinking, come on, man, I've been to all the experts and nobody really knows what to do for me. And you're going to tell me a chiropractor, I've never even heard of a chiropractor, like you're really going to help me. And he did. And that was one of my biggest things that fueled my fire, was when it was obvious that he had figured out what the problem was and he was helping me. One of my biggest questions was, why didn't anybody tell me this before? And, and he was real professional about it. He didn't throw anybody under the bus, talked about the differences in training. But I, as the patient, I wasn't real happy about the fact, I don't expect everybody to know everything, but I would have at least liked the experts that I had gone to have known what the answer is, or to at least known that they don't have the answer, but maybe somebody else does, and told me to go to this guy.
Yeah, I think, Dr. Vince, it's a lot of times people just don't understand how powerful the referral is outside of a broken system.
Yes.
And I think that we've been hook, line, and sinkered into a broken system. And even the ones that are living inside that broken paradigm, they don't want to say the truth that chiropractic helps people.
Amen. Amen. And when that's the problem, nothing else is going to fix it.
And it would be nice that if there was a table set for everybody in the medical profession to where we could actually get to the point to know that chiropractor should be the port of entry for all concerns with anybody's health matters. And then if the chiropractor deems it the body is past the point where chiropractic is going to make a positive influence on it, then that's where the point of the referral should go out from the chiropractor going to somebody else saying, the chiropractor's already given this person the stamp of approval that we need to have some type of higher level of intervention.
Yeah, it's such basic ideology to us, You're right on the money, Jim. I mean, like I said, it just seems like obviously that's how it should be to us.
Exactly. And I think that, we could save people from so much unnecessary spending. We could save people from so much unnecessary, tearing their bodies up with, something that they really think is helping them, when it's really not helping them. It's just hurting them. And the chiropractic adjustment always works.
Absolutely.
I was talking to you earlier offline about Sid Williams, the guy that founded Life. And he would drop keys. And he would say, chiropractic is just like gravity. It works whether you believe it or not.
Amen. Amen. That's right.
So I know that you must have been restored back to good enough health to get back into athletics, right?
Correct.
So what happened as you started going through this transition of chiropractic care to becoming a student athlete?
Well, I had a few different sports that I was really hoping to go into college with. Up here in Wyoming, cross-country skiing is pretty we do that in the winter, and I'd put a lot of time and effort into that. I wanted to ski collegiately, and bottom line is the Norwegians are much better than we are. No matter how much you train, they ski to school every day. They grow up, and home. So I just flat got beat there. I wanted to pursue soccer. I actually broke an ankle in a kind of a pre-Olympic all-star game right after graduation, and that required 2 surgeries to fix. So I was kind of out of the loop there. So once I kind of got back from that surgery, I was at University of Wyoming, and I just didn't have really many options left. And one of my best friends, who was a great athlete through high school, also was playing rugby for University of Wyoming, and he talked me into coming to the rugby team and checking it out. And I did, and I I was really surprised with how serious they were about it, and they had enough guys for 2 teams, an A and a B team plus extras. And I just thought, well, I don't really have any other options right now, and this is fun. I like learning the game, and it just blossomed. And by the time I was a senior, we had, just kind of a perfect storm of good players. We had a coach from New Zealand and a coach from England that teamed up, and they taught us good rugby. And that year we beat the 3-time national defending champions Air Force to make it to the national Final Four. That was the first time Wyoming ever made it to the Final Four, and we got beat, but we gave a pretty good showing. And at that time I didn't know anything about Palmer rugby. I was trying to get into school out in Portland, because that's where I wanted to go to school. If I was going to spend any time outside of Wyoming, I didn't, I just thought Portland would be a good place to go. And, about every chiropractor I'd go shadow would tell me, even if they weren't a Palmer graduate, they'd pretty much all tell me, you need to go to Palmer. When you graduate and become successful, take a trip to Portland. But if you want to be a good chiropractor, go to Palmer. And so that made a big impression on me when chiropractors that didn't go to Palmer were telling me that's where I needed to go. So I started, getting my information from Palmer, and I kept seeing this deal about Palmer rugby. And I didn't understand that they were in the men's premier division. I'm thinking, since they're a college, they're in the college division. I've never heard of them. And we were just at the Final Four, so these guys can't be that good. And long story short, in my discussions with Fred Harris, the athletic director back then, he kind of explained to me that they were in the men's premier division and that they had been very successful there. That the national championships that they had previously were in the college division years ago, but they were now in the men's premier division. And that's what they called it back then, anyway. And then I started getting an idea that, okay, these guys are a step up from what I've seen. And my first game down in St. Louis at the St. Louis Rugger Fest, we played the St. Louis Bombers. And in about the first 3 minutes of the game, I saw the difference in the power and the speed, and you could feel the earth shake and the dust rise from the ground. I knew I was in a different league. Wasn't sure I belonged there.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic boot camp, Moveville University, Pure Chiro Notes, Dr. Alok Trivedi, the Black Diamond Club, Element Mattresses, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Vita Chiropractic, the Universal Traction System, MedZone, Vantage Point Marketing, and Imaging Services. Let's hustle.
Well, I just want to turn the page back just a little bit. You said something earlier about breaking your ankle. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, just to clear things up for everybody out there that's listening, you weren't going to go to your chiropractor and ask them to adjust your ankle, were you?
That is correct. I was not.
Exactly. So there's a time and a place for medical intervention, right?
Right.
So what I've learned through my course of action being in the chiropractic profession is that we should have 2 doctors, one to save us from dying and one to keep us healthy.
Absolutely.
So there is a time where we need these highly skilled surgeons and we need these highly skilled trauma ER, situations that can actually take care of us when we are in, dire need of being put back together to where we can go back to what we know as our normal life.
Absolutely.
So, the chiropractor keeps people healthy and well. the MD and the surgeon and the stitcher and those type of people, they put the body back together at a necessary moment.
Absolutely.
So it's not us against them.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely not.
We're all in this together. And that's the thing that most people just kind of had to clear their glasses and understand that, we're all in this together, whether it's the doctor, chiropractor, or whether it is the MD. It just has to be, we have to have a higher level line of respect for each discipline to where everybody knows who the go-to is.
Yes, absolutely right.
So we're going to go turn the page forward now and talk Palmer Rugby. I know you had an opportunity to go there and play. You just said that you went down to the St. Louis event and it was your first time playing. I know you had an opportunity to get a scholarship there. Let's talk a little bit about that and how that helped you.
Well, it's hard to say what my student loans would have been had I not had that, but by my estimations, it reduced it by about, I'd say 60%. Wow. Probably a little under, because I wasn't getting, probably not 60, but let's go with 40 to 50. Even
50% of like having your, higher education bill covered for being a student athlete is pretty damn cool.
I agree. I mean, it was an opportunity that, in my opinion, it was a God thing. I mean, I didn't plan that at all. It's something that I just got led right into. And the next thing you know, I'm finally playing a sport on scholarship, in a sport that I'm was enjoying learning. And the more I learned about, the more I realized how big it was. It was just a great, great opportunity. And it helped me a ton financially, and it helped me a ton in a lot of other ways.
So you didn't go to Davenport, Iowa for the mountains and for the coast?
That is correct. That is correct. Thank God for Palmer Rugby.
So, little story about me is I grew up in Davenport, Iowa.
Oh, wow.
I lived there for 30 years, so I know exactly where you went for 4 years.
Yes. Yes. But I have fond memories, nothing but fond memories there.
So let's talk a little bit about the symposium. It's happening this weekend, the 13th and 14th, and you're not going to be there.
That is correct. Yeah, I have first soccer tournament of the year to coach for my son's soccer team. So I'll be doing that.
So family is very important as well. And
it is.
There's three ways that the Palmer Alumni gives back to the program. They give back with time, talent, or treasure. How are you contributing?
Well, I definitely donate to the trust monthly. I'm a monthly contributor, and I've been doing that off the top of my head. I don't even know how many years, but for quite a few years, pretty much since it started. So I contribute that way. I've made it back to a couple symposiums, and I'm certainly planning on making it back to more of them. This should be my last year of coaching soccer, so should be able to make most of them from here on out. Certainly, that's what I'm hoping. So yeah, financially, and then hopefully to be they're able to contribute in person as well.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I just know that all of you guys are doing something to give back. And especially the guys that get capped with those types of honors of being a scholarship athlete, I think it's even more of a thank you to my higher education institution for allowing me to do this. I would happily give back for the rest of my life because you put me into the position of being less debt loaded and having more opportunities to tithe back.
Absolutely. That's exactly how I look at it.
And anybody that ever does get some type of funding from the program should always be thinking about, I did this and now I can do more. And now yes. I can give back to, be more of an influence to that community because now I have the ability to be highly successful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which I think is wondrous.
Yeah. Well, and when you see for me, when I see, the current and, the past leadership of Palmer Rugby, Matt and, all the other guys that work so hard, Vokelis and everybody, gosh, I mean, the things they're doing, it just inspires you to do what you can to contribute and really help push those guys along. They do a great job, and it's growing into something bigger and better than when I was there. So it's fun to watch. Fulfillment.
Yeah, that's really cool. I know I got involved with Palmer Rugby about 10 years ago. So I'm going on, I think, around a decade of like knowing about the program. And I honestly can say just from living with Matt Walker for a couple of years, and seeing how he slowly worked his way up into the echelon of influence, it's been pretty amazing to see how much the program has advanced
Yeah.
since you guys have put a system and a structure around it. And how
Yeah.
at one point I knew that the program was going to maybe be washed off, and now it's coming back like, like I've never seen this much success coming to the program.
Yeah, I agree. Like you say, there was a time when we were thinking maybe we were seeing the end of Palmer Rugby, and instead, fast forward to now, and it's grown into something that I never, and I would imagine that a lot of us alumni of my era and before would never have imagined.
So I know you gave me a question, is how has Palmer Rugby helped you as a practicing DC?
Well, and like we were talking when we weren't live, it was such a brotherhood and a support system while I was at Palmer, and it's just the same now, and maybe even to a larger degree. When you're at Palmer playing, you really see your support system as the current team. Maybe some of the guys that had already come and gone, and maybe some of the alumni that show up regularly to the games and the practices, or I'm sorry, the games and the tournaments. But boy, when you become an alumni, especially like me, 23 years an alumni, man, I have a brotherhood of all the guys before me that I didn't necessarily play with. Most of them I didn't play with. And then I have a brotherhood of all these guys, these younger guys that have come along since, and I know most of their names. I keep up on the games and have for 23 years, and a lot of those guys don't know me, but I know who they are and I know their names. And maybe they've heard of me. I don't know. But I know if I called them, if I needed something, I could call them and tell them, hey, I'm a rugby alumni. Here's what I need. And there would be no question of getting taken care of what I need. And it would be the same for them if they called me. So just having that brotherhood out there and knowing that you have that many guys that have worked the same workload as you at Palmer, juggling school and rugby, the traveling, bleeding and sweating and training together, studying together, passing the same tests and the same classes, and then now as those of us who are alumni, dealing with the same challenges we deal with day in and day out in practice, just knowing that support is out there, and I've used that support. So easy to jump on Facebook and get on the page and find out, do we have a guy in XYZ, city, state, and I mean I can go treat a patient and come right back in, check my computer. There's my answer. It's amazing. We can talk about different seminars. Is this one worth going to? Anybody seen this product? Know this product? Heck, Matt's out there finding us products like Persolvent regularly. So it's pretty neat. It's huge.
To me, the program is just getting better. And what you say, I've heard that ringing through my ears of the past 20 interviews that I've done about Palmer Rugby, is it's a family, it's a brotherhood, it's a sisterhood, and now it's a structured system, and now it's a structured program, and now you guys are working at getting a field built, and now you guys now have a state-of-the-art workout facility there. I mean, the program's just getting stronger, and Palmer is just getting stronger. But I think it's because you guys are getting all segments of the influence at that university all in place.
Yes.
So it's not just the Palmer Rugby people doing things for Palmer Rugby. It's now Palmer Rugby working with the higher ups at the school and figuring out how to influence Palmer Rugby with the future of Palmer.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's incredible. And that, like I said, that you can just thank the current and recent past leadership for that.
Because I think that, one by itself is great, but without a future together, then it's like a family member leaving the family. It's like, it just doesn't work. But in closing here, is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our audience today?
Boy, I think we've covered the main things.
Okay.
I'm grateful to be a chiropractor, and I'm grateful to be a Palmer Rugby alumni, and just grateful for my brotherhood of Palmer Rugby guys. And I appreciate you having me on today, Jim.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun. You're my third interview of the day. I love talking the tick. I like to spread the message. And I always tell people, if we just all tell more chiropractic story, get more information out there, then chiropractic has a chance to live outside the four walls of chiropractic. Because you get it, all your colleagues get it, all your patient base gets it, but the people outside in our neighborhoods, they still don't get it. So we just all have to work a little bit harder, a little bit longer, and keep on, pressing forward with the chiropractic information to where people aren't afraid. They become more or less demystified to what a chiropractor is and what they aren't. And then they can start learning that the body does heal from above down, inside out, that it needs nothing extra in it. It simply needs no interference. So when you start clearing up that interference of the nervous system, the body starts healing naturally. And you're like, seventh grade time, you're like, holy cow, this works.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Why didn't somebody tell me about this sooner?
Right. Yeah. And that's just, that's one of the greatest things about being a chiropractor is talking that every day.
And turning people on.
Amen.
Well, I'm going to close out and thank Presolvent for supporting this episode of the Chiro Hustle afternoon edition. And Dr. Vince, I just want to say thank you. It's great to get to know you, man. And
you as well.
It's a lot of fun. I can't wait to circle up with you in person and to share a few more stories with you and just keep on charging forward.
Likewise, Jim. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. I'm glad we got this to work.
Yeah, same here.
See you, brother.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.